We have successfully implemented the work from home arrangement that keeps everyone safe at the comfort of their own homes while still being productive. Should we really go back to the office? Aside from those that can only be done on site, we have proven that we don't need to be physically in the office to be able to hit our expected outputs. There are departments that can really operate remotely. Hence, I don't think there's added benefit to returning. There must be a really good reason why it's important for us to go back to the office.
Yes, there is. The government is preparing to open up the country's economy gradually and is doing so as the country needs to recover from the effects brought by the COVID-19 pandemic. The intention of the government on employees returning back to work is for economic reasons that will come in the form of growth and having more opportunities for its people, which will mean income to provide for family and needs and to purchase goods and services that will aid in economic growth.
Okay, I hear you. Yes, we also have a role in helping with the economic recovery due to the pandemic. However, has the government response been sufficient? Quarantine protocols are being relaxed with a decline in daily new cases. But regardless, we are still in the middle of a pandemic. How did it start in the first place? Isn't it with a single case, and then eventually more people got infected? So the decline in daily new cases might lead to the end of the pandemic, but it may also be the start of a new wave, just like what happened recently with South Korea. Can we guarantee the safety of everyone if we are to return to the office?
Well, the government, companies, and institutions are now doing their part in ensuring that majority of the people are vaccinated, and this can be one of many bases in returning to office. As for the preparedness of organizations and establishments on the safety of its people, all equipment that are utilized to do disinfection and health check monitoring are to be implemented continuously. The health standard protocols and social distancing mandated by the World Health Organization and the government through the Interagency Task Force must still be in place at work until the pandemic's over. People that have comorbidities or are person with disability can avail of the skeletal workforce arrangement since they are more prone to be infected. And this is what organizations have to put into consideration too, since they will also struggle in traveling to and from the office. There are organizations that were able to provide shuttle bus service to keep their employees safe while commuting. This is a better alternative to commute safely and may help in reducing traffic congestion due to the high number of vehicles traveling around the country. The pace of the government in response to handling the COVID-19 pandemic may be in a slow but surely manner, yet it considers the safety and well-being of its people. Thus, return to office will be ideal in order to guarantee the quality, efficiency, and security of the organization, especially those that do transactions using information and communication technology.
Hmm. Unfortunately, even if we follow safety protocols, it is not guaranteed that we would not be infected while in the office. Also, if a team member starts having COVID-19 related symptoms, every close contact must quarantine at home. This one must be carefully considered as not having a plan would lead to lost productivity and perhaps could lead to lost opportunity in servicing prospect and existing clients.
Okay? Should that case happen, all must report and coordinate with the nearest health facility in order to avoid infecting other people and help them recover through monitoring with the aid of the local government unit and its health facility. The organizations must be ready to have a business continuity plan in place, and the people under these organizations must be vaccinated. Since we are all here, would anyone share their thoughts about returning to office?
Honestly, I'm not yet ready for it. For an employee like us, returning to home means exposing ourselves to crowded areas and practically letting down our guard, which we hardly kept for almost 2 years now. I cannot take the risk of being infected by COVID 19. There are firms that reported high cases of their COVID 19 work incident. Besides, sharing the same space with others makes me uncomfortable. How can we guarantee our safety going back to the office?
I guess we have different opinions regarding return to office. As you said, it has been almost 2 years since the pandemic began, and there are established and implemented protocols that we should follow as a part of our new normal. I think that if there are strict implementation of the company safety protocols, then the risk of being infected due to transmission in the work area will be significantly low. We can also assume that most of the workers that will return to work are also vaccinated.
How about the workers that are not vaccinated? They are potential carriers of the virus that can spread in the workplace. Just recently, there is a case in South Korea where 81% of their population have been fully vaccinated. But in just 3 consecutive days, they spiked to around 7,000 new cases. How about us? The approximate percentage of fully vaccinated in our country is 39%, and this is less than the target of this year.
Well, according to the Interagency Task Force or IATF Resolution number 148-B, eligible employees who remain to be unvaccinated may not be terminated solely by reason thereof. However, they shall be required to undergo RT-PCR tests regularly at their own expense for purposes of on-site work, provided that antigen tests may be restored to when RT-PCR capacity is insufficient or not immediately available. So we can say that unvaccinated individuals are being monitored properly and held accountable with the result of their tests.
Okay, that's ideal for employees who stay at their offices doing their office work. How about the workers like technicians or the messengers, which require going out from time to time as part of their responsibilities? There's a chance that when they go outside, they may be associated with infected individuals.
As I stated earlier, since the company decided to have the employees physically report to work, protocols and guidelines on carrying out duties and responsibilities must already be implemented in the work area. This includes the case of for employees whose job requires them to go outside the office. The Department of Health also published the Workplace Handbook on COVID-19 Management and Prevention to guide the public and private sectors to ensure the safety of the employees in each workspace.
All right, I'll respect your take on this matter. Good thing that in our workplace we still have the provision on different working arrangements based on the employee's capability and nature of work. Since in our line of work, we only need the internet connection to access our servers. I guess I'll stick to my preferences.
Well, that's great, but connectivity and security is another topic. that we need to be concerned about. So let's ask the opinions of our other workmates.
Now that some of our teammates have discussed about the readiness and health concerns on RTO and work from home, let's proceed with IT connectivity and security. Before we start, we would like to introduce ourselves.
I am Rafael and I am in favor of work from home.
Hi everyone, I am Madeline Mascareñas, but you can call me Jigs, and I am in favor of return to office.
Okay, so the first topic is IT connectivity and security. So this is the primary technical concern when setting up a work from home environment. Typically, working inside office premises is more secure and has a better access to resources compared to working from home or remotely. But there are technologies and procedures that can be leveraged to bridge the gap. So working from home will be secure and convenient as well. With regards to internet connection, 10 Mbps is already a decent speed when used in work purposes. This is based on my personal experience when I was quarantined last month. Fiber plans are now available in major cities across the country, and it offers at least 35 Mbps speed. Based on Broadband Speed Checker website, the average download and upload speeds in the country are 36 and 26 Mbps. With this data, we can conclude that the country is now ready for a work from home setup. When it comes to cybersecurity, we have a saying that employees are the most vulnerable asset of the company. So in order to mitigate this vulnerability, what we usually do is conduct a cybersecurity awareness training. We need to do this in a regular basis. And aside from that, we also need to check the knowledge of the employees. One sample testing is by sending a phishing email intentionally to random employees.
Okay. So for return to office, I would like to raise some points on IT connectivity and security. Working from home poses multiple layers of vulnerability on IT connectivity and security because there are multitudes of risks when working outside the company's network. One most visible issue since the forced work from home setup has been in place, employees had to connect through personal internet connections, and internet speed varies depending on the employee's location. Aside from internet, there are other variables that play a huge part on connectivity, such as power outages, poor internet signals, and hardware issues. Intermittent connection affects the company's productivity, especially for operations that require to be executed online. Once employees are connected to the internet and network, ensuring cybersecurity is another story. Organizations make strong efforts on educating their stakeholders and reinforcing their network with identified security protocols that would anticipate potential security breaches. Also, it is emphasized that cybersecurity is everyone's responsibility. However, those reinforced IT protocols are limited to the capabilities of the current version of the organization's security algorithm. More so, putting the responsibility on employees to adhere to cybersecurity policies is based on a person's integrity, and it could vary from person to another person. And this is something that's out of the organization's control. For me, the more complicated security protocol is, the more the risk and vulnerability would be there for your organization. So it is better to return back to office when it comes to connectivity and security concerns.
After securing the cybersecurity awareness of employees, the next point of vulnerability is the IT infrastructure. So basically, the concern here is when we are transmitting a data from your device to the server, we need to make sure that it is secured and not tampered. One technology that we can use to implement this is the VPN, or Virtual Private Network. What VPN basically does is it will encrypt the data before transmitting over the internet, and it also do a checking and validation to ensure that the data is not tampered. Companies has multiple options when installing a VPN on their system. There's the community edition of OpenVPN, which comes in a free, and there's also a commercial product like Cisco VPN. These commercial products comes with advanced feature like malware protection. So another technology that can be utilized when working from home is a virtual desktop. Virtual desktop is basically similar to the typical desktop, but instead of having a actual hardware, the operating system of virtual desktop is installed in a virtual machine. And the virtual machine is provisioned inside the company's private cloud. So with this setup, the security policies applied to a typical desktop is also applied in the virtual desktop. So how does employees connect? So basically, they only need to install a client application like Citrix Workspace to view the desktop and send commands. So they only send commands, and the actual execution of the commands happens in the virtual machine, which is located inside the office premises or office network. And the data being processed are contained within the company network. So in effect, security and access to resources are just similar to working within the office premises. The drawback on this technology is the cost and maintenance. Not all companies can afford this, and commonly it used only in the banks and other fintech companies because they usually give high importance on security, and they allocate budget for these technologies. So despite of security protocols, definitely data breach is still possible, like theft. So in order to avoid this, we need to provision a second level of protection to ensure that there will be no data breach of the company and clients' confidential information. Anti-theft software has several features to do this, like disk encryption, device auto lock, and device geolocation. These features are already available in the latest operating systems, but there are still commercial products like Prey, which provide some advanced features. Example of these are controlling the device remotely to retrieve the data when you lost it, or you can set some policy in the software wherein it will wipe the data if it detects an unauthorized access.
All right. Now for return to office. So security infrastructures and policies are already existing even before the pandemic. However, continuing work from home setup would need tools to proactively address security risks. And sure, we do have those tools. Security tools such as VPN, virtual desktop, and anti-theft software requires applications, storages, and licenses that cost more or if not equal to whatever your organizations use when it comes to the major applications that would execute its daily operations. Besides, security tools still have its limitations when addressing all kinds of cyber attacks. Keeping employees out of the office and saving on recurring monthly site expenses such as internet, power, water, and maintenance does not necessarily mean cost efficient because security tools are far more expensive. So financially wise, it is more cost efficient to return back to the office.
Okay, so aside from the technologies that we can use to secure the communication from remote workspace to your office, we also need to implement a continuous and centralized data backup. So this is in order to avoid data loss. With this technology, the data is basically replicated in real time into a secured location. So there is a concept of data redundancy. But this data redundancy ensures that the data is highly available so that during, let's say, if there's a security breach, data can still be recovered at any point in time and restore the system to the latest healthy status.
All right. So for centralized data backup and return to office, with or without the pandemic, centralized data backup is ensured by all organizations. I agree that having a data backup is a must-have, but it only focuses on the data layer security. Because focusing on data, servers must first be set up and it shall be done with physical presence within the office grounds. And it proves that RTO is essential to keep data and information backed up and secured. Also, for data backup is a solution that would enable the business to resume its operation in case the server crashed. Although backup data is also used when the network has been hacked, the business could proceed with their day-to-day tasks while security breach is still being resolved. However, data backup does not fix the horror brought upon by data breach and the information that leaked out of your organization's network. Confidentiality, integrity, and availability of data must be reinforced through and through.
When it comes to security, it involves vast coverage. Organizations do not have any choice but to cope up and improve their security protocols. Also, internet connectivity is critical part of everyone's work, and we have come up with keeping connected despite the limitations.
Moreover, the quality of work delivered is a continuation of being connected, and it varies from person to person or organization to organization. Hence, employee productivity is another story we can further tackle on.
Thanks, Jigs and Raf. IT and security is indeed one of the critical factors to consider for the work from home and the return to office setup.
As for the employee productivity, there are multiple things to consider, also such as utilization workload, productivity, motivations, work collaborations, and training and development. So, Brian, let's proceed.
So to start, work from home provides flexibility. This setup is seen as favorable by employees because it enables them to do work activities while still supporting their personal or family obligations. So eliminating the daily commute and other distractions from work can provide them more time for their family, thus reducing work-life conflict, or they can spend the extra time for their interests and hobbies.
Uh, Employees who are working remotely are having hard time communicating with other employees, where you can get that information with just face-to-face conversation or and no need to set up a meeting. Working remotely is also a blocker to work-family conflict. In what way? Employees have the same mandatory overtime. Working at the office allows you to focus and eliminate those distractions from your family. And then this directly affects the employee productivity. Um, a study from a IT company with 10,000 employees explained how to weigh the productivity of an employee, which is output and hours work. According to research, the total hours work of work from home employees increased by approximately 30%, which is about 2 to 3 hours per day, but the same output with the employees who are working in the office. The researchers conclude that productivity decreased by 20%. Employees may lose the commuting time, but that time was just spent in productive work instead sitting in the traffic.
Okay, but when from work from home setup, it has been found that this setup can lead to an increase in employees' performance by almost 13% compared to traditional office setup. There are also reduced absenteeism, increased employee retention, and the option to work from home can attract more qualified individuals to join an organization from anywhere. And there's also a study where 70% of the respondents say work from home has given them more freedom or creativity in their job, thus improving overall productivity. This is supported by several more studies that support improved productivity and well-being for remote workers, given the correct practices and proper environment. And this is closely related to employee motivation. It was reported that employees working from home have higher levels of job satisfaction because of the flexibility of working conditions. If the employees feel that they can balance their personal life and work activities, the higher the job satisfaction. Granting some control to workers enable them to grow their capacity to absorb greater work intensity. Work from home setup also can increase accountability. This results in a good relationship between individuals and the organization. There is a study by Gashi that says the more frequently a person works from home, the higher the job and family satisfaction, organizational commitment, and family performance. So it was also found out that employees' well-being is directly related to the autonomy, work-life balance, and flexibility in their workplace.
Um, for the return to the office, an article shows that working from home can be also a lack of motivation for employees due to its environment while working at the office with your fellow employees that can share insights to their work and having a pep talk with their seniors or colleagues. This is a challenge to work from home setup in terms also of work collaborations.
Yes, but there are readily available online features that can be utilized for collaboration. This includes MS Teams, Google Hangout, and Zoom. There are some numerous cloud features that can be used by the team, like the shared dashboard for task management, digital whiteboard for designs, and some other tools and productivity programs. And employees can easily get their work done together.
But when everyone was in the office, it was much easier to have a group meetings where meeting leaders could just pull people or their colleagues into a room quickly. Also, the ability to meet and brainstorm has dropped an average of 11% for all work styles since they began working from home. For employees whose roles rely on collaboration, the drop is even larger, ranging from 13% to 15%. The ability to maintain social relationships has declined an average of 17% for all work styles since working from home. And lastly, the ability to have unplanned interactions has dropped the most at 25% on average for all work styles since working from home. So, in terms of training and development, return to office or working in an office can face to face can have a face to face conversation or brainstorming, and also actual or hands on training is a big advantage for office based employees.
You're correct, yes. And but we're now seeing trends with regards to virtual seminar or virtual conferences. For example, the CNCF Kubicon, Developer Week, and other tech summit. There's also MOOC or massive open online course, Coursera, Udemy, EDX, and Khan Academy, to name a few. So the advantages of these platforms include global reach, worldwide audience, it's less expensive compared to traditional learning. It can be self-paced, and it is accessible 24/7 in even in different languages.
Thank you for sharing your insights. Overall, we demand for return to office because of two main reasons. One is the utilization of employee working hours, and also to eliminate the work family conflict in working remotely. Second is to bring back the work-life motivations of every employees by allowing us to have a face-to-face conversations and physical activities.
Things said, also to add, productivity and overall well-being are enhanced when individuals can maintain boundaries between work and the non-work aspects of their lives. It also helps when they belong to a supportive and trustful organization. This can lead to improved mental health and better overall work-life balance, which will be discussed further by Lynn and Janice.
Hi, I am Lecterine Aline Hilario, and I am in favor of work from home setup.
Hello, I'm Janice Adap, and I'm in favor in return to office.
The work from home setup has significantly increased employees' productivity. There have been quite a lot of surveys circulating regarding the effect of work from home, especially during pandemic. Work from home has been demonstrated in several studies to be more productive than working in an office setup. Based on Apollo's technical research, people who work from home squander 10 minutes less of each day. On the average, work one more day per week and are 47% more productive. In my own experience, I dreaded traveling to work for at least 8 hours a day. That's why the news about people's increased productivity does not surprise me at all. Instead of employees being stuck in EDSA for long hours, they can use the save hours to complete their work tasks or to do whatever they want. In addition, time and effort to travel is such a hassle, especially the travel time to countries like Philippines. The transportation system in our country is not efficient enough. People can also save money due to zero to minimal transportation fees and will lessen the food intake outside their home.
For return to office, here are the points I would like to raise regarding employee productivity. International Labor Organization presented the article of L. Macaulay that remote workers in COVID-19 pandemic are putting in extra work hours. Though the employees save time from commuting, he or she uses the extra time to complete the task. ILO emphasized that unrealistic expectations and additional pressure on already overstretched employees can lead to disengagement and also the risk of burnout, which is so true, especially those like me who are remote working while still working the 8 to 5 work schedule. Mayo Clinic presented that job burnout can affect the physical and mental capabilities of a person in pursuing and concentrating on his or her daily task, either at work or at home. That leads to inconsistent productivity levels.
But based on eForbes article, according to Flex Job survey of more than 4,000 respondents working from home in response to COVID-19 coronavirus, 73% said that working from home improved their work-life balance. This allowed them to spend more time with their partner, family, pets, and friends. Employees do not need to worry about their child having or being alone at home for 24/7. In addition, they get to work in a more comfortable place or a place of their choice. And more importantly, hours gone because of travel time from home to office will be utilized more in different activities.
However, when it comes to mental issues, there are some studies that disagree on that. Raphael Beek and his team pointed out in their article, which was published in McKinsey Digital, that being isolated leads to uncertainty about whom to talk to on specific issues, where to get specific support, and how and when to approach colleagues, leading to holdups and delays. 40% of 1,007 employers from the United States, the United Kingdom, Singapore, and the United Arab Emirates revealed in an online survey conducted by AITNA International that lack of social interaction among colleagues will have long-term negative impact on some workers' mental health. Based on the research of Jodie Oatman and her team that was published in 2020, there are 10 health outcomes reported during working at home, such as pain, self-reported health, safety well-being, stress, depression, fatigue, quality of life, strain, and happiness. It followed by this statement that the impact on health outcomes was strongly influenced by the degree of organizational support available to employees, colleague support, social connectedness outside of work, and levels of work to family conflict. Most of the workplaces in the country are neophytes when it comes to implementing work from home setup. Thus, the organization culture and resources in this setup is not well established to address the drastic mental effect to the employees and other people concerned.
Work from home can and will improve everyone's life balance if we just know how to limit things. Always work in moderation and block out some schedule on different aspects of your life. Block a schedule specifically for your work, your hobbies, or any that you love, and most especially, block time to spend with your family and loved ones. As much as possible, create a comfortable workspace, stay organized, commit to smaller but intense work intervals, take a break, and learn how to say no from time to time. We are all struggling in both productivity and mental health, regardless if we are in a work from home setup or office setup. At the end of the day, we need to find ways on how we deal with them.
I think I can agree with that. Mental health problems occur in various moments and forms. Situation can also trigger further health risks. Sometimes it is within us that can help ourselves to manage these problems. Moreover, a person having a mental health problem does not just affect the person, but everyone around him or her. The company should also be responsible for the mental wellness of its employees. Whatever the new working setup the company embraces, let's remember to include in our culture the mental well-being of every member of the organization.